Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm IATF qualified auditor doing audit for the automotive sector for the last 19 years. I'm again back with a very interesting topic, and today I'm going to talk about 5S. And by the time this topic will end, you will understand what exactly is 5S, what does it mean, why it is important for all of us, what are the key steps with respect to this 5S. And then by the time this video will end, you will also understand that is it only about cleaning or it is much more than that. Well, whenever you think about any military cantonment area or you think about airport, you will find all the elements of 5S there. You will find everything is very systematically planned, everything is neat and clean. You will find everything in place, and you will find the efficiency as its best. Something similar is expected when we talk about 5S. So primarily when we talk about 5S, the intent is that how we can do anything effectively, efficiently, and with safety. Initially, this particular term was coined by Toyota Production System when they were implementing lean management system. And now 5S is not only for automotive industry or the manufacturing industry, but all kind of industries are implementing 5S. In fact, when we talk about 5S, it's primarily a common sense, wherein we are talking about certain things, but in Japan, they put up as a structure so that it can be implemented systematically. So when we talk about 5S, it is talking about first S is talking about Seiri, it is talking about sorting. Then we talk about second S, it is talking about Seiton, it means it is set in order. The third one is Seiso, it means shining. The fourth one is Seiketsu, it means we are talking about standardization. And the fifth one is Shitsuke, wherein the intent is with respect to sustaining what we are doing. So I'm going to tell each and every step one by one. And through that, I will try to let you know what exactly it means and how it can be beneficial for the organization. So the first thing is Seiri. So when we talk about Seiri, primarily the intent is that we need to remove everything that is not necessary from the work area, and then we need to make sure that whatever is relevant, only that we are using it. Say for example, when we talk about at our home, in summers we have got different kind of clothes, in winters we use different kind of clothes, so we put them in a different place so that we can use them as per the requirement. Something similar happen in the industry also, wherein there may be some old procedures which are obsolete now, or maybe some tools which are used which are now worn out, maybe slow moving or non moving inventory, or maybe if we talk about the HR process, there can be the old biodatas, and there can be some obsolete software which are there in our computer. So how to identify that? So that brings another point here, that why it is important to implement the sorting or Siri. So first of all, it helps the organization to have a more productive workspace, so that when we remove this clutter and we eliminate all the distractions, it helps to make better space so that we can do much more things. Say for example, when we remove the old files or the obsolete files, it increases the storage space in the hard disk. Something similar in the shop floor also, when we remove the rejected material, the slow moving material, we get more space so that we can keep more, say, machines or maybe an open space. And also something similar happens when we talk about any assembly area, where we can avoid the mixing of setup pieces with the good pieces, and something can happen in different places. Even at home, when we talk about that, it's very easy to find the right spices that we need in the kitchen. Then it brings another important point here, that how to implement Siri or the sorting. So first of all, it's very important to identify that which are the items which are needed in that area. So for example, if we are working in a molding process, so we need the measuring instruments only which are required for the molding process. Then second point is items which are required in another area. So if in a molding area we don't need any measuring instruments which are related to the press shop, so we need to make sure that they are at the right place. Or maybe sometimes the sleepers which we are using at home, they should be in the rack and not everywhere on the floor. So that needs to be taken care of. The third point is which are the items which are not required or which are not needed. So it can be any old item, any obsolete items, it can be the love letters, old greeting cards, or it can be the material which is identified by red tag that this material is not to be used. All that can be there. And another category could be the items which may be needed. So maybe it may not be required on day-to-day basis, but we may require sometimes the machine manuals which we require just once in a while, or maybe some old bills or the obsolete or the old purchase orders which may be required at some point of time. So at that time we can use that. So that brings point number two, that is Seiton. So here we are talking about setting in order, that now whatever is the right thing that is with us, what to do with that. So the main objective of Seton is to make sure that there's a very popular slogan to give a more clarity about it, a place for everything and everything in place. So it means it should be very clear that where we need to put something and whatever is relevant for the organization, or maybe at home or maybe at any other place, there should be a defined location for that so that we can make sure that things are there. Say for example, in our computer there may be different type of files that we are using, so we need to make sure that whatever files that we are using, they are actually for the right purpose and they are stored in the right place so that we can easily retrieve that. Or maybe in a maintenance shop, the whatever toolings that we are using, whether it is exactly at the right place so that we can retrieve them quickly. Or maybe an operator who is working on a shop floor, he may be looking for a work instruction, how quickly that person can get that. So all those things are required with respect to this. Now another important point is that why it is important that everything should be set in order, because when we put everything in order, it makes things easy. With an effective visual management, it becomes very easy in a shop floor for a person to identify each and everything. Say for example, a operator who is working in assembly line, it becomes easy to find which are the different components that need to be assembled and not those components which are not required in that particular assembly line. And something similar can be with respect to students. They can find the right textbook, because at times if you look into the cupboard of the students, it's cluttered with so many different kind of books which may not be required, but with proper systematic process they can find which is the right textbook which is required. Or maybe in case we are finding something in the mobile phone, if we have only the right thing in the mobile phone, it's very easy, say for example, to search any driving lessons at that particular moment. That brings another interesting point with respect to that, how to implement Seton. So when we talk about implementing Seton, here the intent is that it should be easily accessible. For example, the books that we want to read today, they should be easily with us. The samples that we need to send it to the customers, we know that these are the only samples that needs to be done. The second point could be we can group the similar kind of items at a similar place. Maybe drawings can be stored at one place, calibration reports for a particular month can be put at a special place. Something similar is with respect to visualizing the items, like at times on the shop floor people are using shadow boards just to make sure that whatever toolings are there, they are being stored with less space and they can be easily retrieved. Or maybe at times there is inventory control system which is there for different materials by using different color codes to make sure that the minimum and maximum inventory is being taken care. Now one very important thing to understand before moving further here is that when we talk about 5S, is it all about cleaning or it is much more than that? So it's very important to understand, as I said in the beginning also, when we talk about effective implementation of 5S, it's not about cleaning. It's about improving the efficiency. It's about improving the effectiveness. It's about making sure that the people who are working on shop floor, they are safe. So we need to make sure that when we are implementing 5S, because at times, it is generally being seen that people say that the 5S is not good or 5S needs to be improved. So it means they're primarily talking only about cleaning, but it is much more than that. Cleaning is just a very small part of this entire process of 5S. And even by doing cleaning, the idea is not cleaning, but to make sure that how we can become more productive, more effective, and more safe what we are doing. So moving further, now text about 5S, the point number 3. So here we are talking about Seiso. So when we talk about CISO, primarily we are talking about what to do now with respect to all the material that we are having with us, how we can make it shine or make it more clear. So primarily here the intent is that we can remove all the trash, grease, dirt and everything which is there. Say for example, there is some leakage, maybe the oil leakage, water leakage, something is there. So what we can do with respect to that, maybe some loose electric wires are there on the machines, what can be done with respect to that. So all those things can be taken care, just like any five-star hotel or maybe at airport where you see everything is very clean and sharp. So something that similar should be there in all the places. It can be home or it can be a factory. But why it's important to implement CISO or shining? Well, when everything is clean, it makes things more simpler, easier. People feel more motivated to work in an environment wherein the more light is there, the space is more, and people are not finding it difficult to walk to a walkway where they're finding it difficult to do that, or maybe as simple as that when we are using our mobile or computer, the speed is more, then we can work more effectively and efficiently. How to implement that? Well, first of all, it's very important that we should have the right kind of tools to clean the place, to make sure that everything is systematic and effective. Maybe the kind of measuring instruments that we need, they should be in a proper packet so that we can find it and we can use it in the right way and there is no error in that. So that brings the next, the fourth S, and that is Seiketsu. So when we talk about Seiketsu, primarily we are talking about standardization. And why standardization is important? Here the intent is that we may do something good one day, but maybe if we are not implementing it systematically, sooner or later it is going to create a problem for us. So we need to define some standards, and once we decide a standard, then also we need to make sure that we are implementing all that. So for example, when we talk about traffic light, so we are talking about three different colors: green, yellow and red. It's not only in one country, but any country in the world, the same color code is there. So when we standardize something, it becomes easy to understand that how to implement, how to use that. Something similar happened with respect to some different color codes in the factory. Say for example, for fire it is red, for water it is blue. Maybe sometimes for danger mark there is some specific color which is being defined. Or maybe if we talk about any steel industry, for different grades of the steel, there are different color codes which are defined. Say if there are 20 or different designs, different type of grades of material there, so there are different types of color code which are defined for each type of steel, which makes the thing easy. And why what is the purpose of doing that? It makes this thing simpler. It converts, rather than depending upon a person, things can be done in a very, very effective way, in a very systematic way. And at times different kind of checklist can be used to implement all those things. So that brings the last point, Shitsuke. So here we are talking about sustaining. So when we talk about 1S, 2S, 3S and 4S, now they will not serve the purpose unless and until we could sustain what we are doing it so far. Otherwise, we at one point of time things may look very good, very rosy, things are being very efficient, but if it is not being sustained, very soon our productivity will go down. So it's very important, the last step, the Shitsuke or the sustainability, that's very, very important. And there are many things which are done by the organization to implement that. It could be as simple as maybe providing the training to the people, maybe dividing the entire factory into different zones so that there's a focus attention. A regular periodic audits can be done. At times it is being done that this fixed point photography is being done. So these are all the different ways which are being done just to make sure that everything is sustained. And one thing which is very important is that when we ensure that things are being done in a systematic manner, it leads to a lot of benefits to the organization. So for example, it helps the organization to ensure that the additional motions are being taken care of, additional waiting time is being taken care of, the excess inventory is being monitored and they are being controlled. And certainly when it happens, it helps to reduce the cost. Higher quality is always there, it improves the productivity, employee satisfaction improves further, and it leads to a safer work environment. Now, in the last, if you talk about some of the key challenges that industry is facing with respect to effective implementation of 5S, the first and the biggest challenge is how often the top management is defining some key targets with respect to quality, cost, and delivery whenever 5S is being implemented in any organization. The second big challenge is how often people are clear about the difference between 5S, which can improve effectiveness, efficiency, and safety, in comparison to that it is only for the cleaning purpose. And third, and the most important challenge with respect to industry, how often there is a periodic verification of effective implementation of 5S and the benefits that the organization is getting it from it by the top management. So if I do a summary, primarily I talked about what exactly is 5S, what are the different 5S which are there, what does it mean, why it is important, and with examples, what are the benefits that organization can get about it, and whether it is only about cleaning or it is much more than that. Well, my next video will again be in series of the same training and improvement, wherein I'm going to talk about quality circle. Regularly, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side and they're helping me to understand your expectations. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you'll find a link below. If you click that, you'll find a blog there. And there you'll find this information in much more detail. And in case you're liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website, bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.